There we go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Core Racing Network. Some technical difficulty to start this thing. We were talking for well, 3/4 of this pace lap. Pace lap is over at this point, and we're getting ready to go racing. So we'll get right to the action here. Carl in the booth, Jimmy in the booth, and 30 cars out there on the track. A big size field. Let's get ready for the action here at the Mugello circuit. A big, beautiful track here. Hard to see with this fall cover right now, but we're going to see these drivers put on a heck of a show, I'm sure. Green flag in the air. We are racing in Italy. Good start from both Jancic and Hamilton on the front row. Silvani Madrigal, Bryce Reiner, Christian Ortiz Torres for your top 5, but you see it's a long straightaway, long run down into turn number 1. Hamilton going to try and keep it there on the outside, but a big hairpin here as Pineda goes a bit wide. I believe that was Pineda back there. Yeah, it should be Pineda, yep. And we head through, first time through the S's, but return of Silvani Madrigal and puts it up there in 3rd place in qualifying. Already taking it to Hamilton, makes the pass in turn number 2, and he's trying to reclaim some some of the good vibes that he had before he left the series here for a little bit. But man, you see this fog cover, Jimmy. I mean, it's not terrible from the driver's point of view, as Madrigal doing, I guess, his best Lando Norris impression there, mowing a little bit of grass. But he's going to lose some time to Craig Jancic, and Jancic is going to stretch his legs here. Another one of those tracks that Jancic is going to use the Lamborghini at here tonight, and Bryce Reiner doing the same thing as Hamilton moves back into 2nd place. It's a track that has a lot of speed in it, so the Lamborghini not exactly a bad choice.
Nah, and Jancic's choice of cars are for this season is the Ford and the Lambo, so obviously I would go to Lambo as well. I got the Ford out here. It felt okay, it handled okay. It seemed a little bit off pace, but again, I don't have a ton of time on this track, so I'm sure there's just areas where I could have been a lot better. But McLaren, I think, is a really good choice as well. Porsche, obviously with all the twisting turns, should be good, but you see the vet going around there, Glenn Lawson. Looks like everybody's okay, with just the exception of himself losing some track time. But it is going to be Craig Jancic still out front over Chris Hamilton and trying to pull away.
Yeah, and one thing we talked about, I guess, to ourselves with the little bit of technical issues here in the beginning was the curbing here. And there's certainly a lot of curbs that you can take, a lot of curbs you can drive up and over and not have an issue. But there are a bit of sausage curbs out here, and usually they're marked pretty brightly in yellow, and you want to avoid them like the plague. They will 100% up the car, like, I mean, just right on cue. Right there, you've seen John Espada having some issues with the BMW going up over the curb, and then even on exit right there, it just still was not corrected there. We'll take a look at that whole ordeal, and you watch right here on the inside, you see he clips the curb, upsets the car, and may even take some damage right there, but coming out of the corner, a little bit too much throttle, and loops that car right around. But again, you gotta avoid those sausage curbs, because they will launch the car. Doesn't matter what car you have out there, whether it's one with a little bit higher of a ride height, or one like the BMW here, a little bit lower ride height. But either way, it's gonna grab you, it's gonna throw you like a rag doll. But at the front, 1.3 second lead here for Craig Jancic. Hamilton again did slot back into 2nd, making the pass, and Silvani Madrigal, who's back in 3rd. Bryce Reiner, Christian Ortiz Torres for your top 5, and heck of an effort there for the 11. A good qualifying effort. Your top 5 remaining the same right now, but then going through the rest of the field is certainly a bit of a shake-up. Tyler Corville is up 2 spots into 6th. Billy Wright up 5 spots into 7th. Craig Pisano, Steve McLean in 8th and 9th, both up a spot. Dave Jensen is the one that has lost 3 spots there, but still in the top 10. But all in all, I mean, it's a great showing here once again, as again, just so many issues here tonight. I'm going to blame the fog. I'm going to blame the weather on the issues here tonight. But there we go. Looks like we got the standings up there now as well. I mean, it just the stream didn't want to start. Of course, SDK just is always SDK to me. It just always has some kind of issues, some kind of little things. It's usually on me. I may blame SDK, but I'm sure it's something that I'm doing wrong.
I mean, yeah, we don't have very many options for like obviously making things simplified for us up here in the booth as far as being able to have driver's information, hit replays for incidents. So, not many out there that I'm aware of, and I'm no engineer, so to come up with something myself would be pretty difficult. But yeah, the fog is definitely a handful here tonight. You see a pass there by Jason Potts. As he got around the course there, now closing in on Ian Southern in the 57.
Yeah, Southern already up 12
yeah.
spots here, and Devin Young doing the same thing, 17th and 18th right now in the running, as they have really gained a ton of positions here to start this race, both up 12 spots, so good start. Herbert Pineda is the one that we've seen in turn number 1 have the issues in the 99. He is back here in 21st position, lost 15 spots there from the issues at the start of this race, but he's got the speed. We'll see if he can make it up there through this field here once again. But Glenn Lozana is not having too much fun, I don't think, in that Corvette here. Second time we've seen him spun around, this time off in the kitty litter. Is going to drop down to 28th in the running. But at the front, it is Craig Chancey in the lead, but this long straightaway here is a friend to Chris Hamilton, and he was able to reel in Craig Chancey here a little bit. It's down to 0.6 seconds here for the lead. Both these two are stretching their legs. They are out to about almost a 3-second lead, 2 3/4 second lead. Jancic has a little bit of a bobble, but they're trying to run away from this field. Siviani Madrigal in third, trying to hold off Bryce Reiner.
Yeah, Jancic got another bobble there. Even closed because of Hamilton back in that bumper just a little bit even closer. But back here for that third place battle is starting to heat up a little bit with Reiner on the tail of Madrigal. So it's definitely good battles all over the field here. Up front here, obviously, with the first 3 spots up for battle, and the next one's back in 7th with Billy Wright.
Speaking of a battle, we got a battle for the lead right now, Jimmy.
Yep. Yeah, Jansen got a little bit of a bobble, and I'm wondering if the tires are going on the Lambo. I'm wondering if the Lambo has any tire issues. The Porsche, it's early right now, so I think the Porsche has got the upper hand at the moment. Definitely want a track here, I think, made a little bit more for the Porsche, besides the straightaways. So we'll see if Jansen can use those to his advantage, but maybe sit behind Christopher Hamilton and see if there's something that he's missing on that 88 to make things just a little bit smoother. So hasn't let him get away, just let him get around him.
No, and I don't know how much he's going to stay behind here as he's tucked in down the front stretch. And you see back there Bryce Reiner in the other Lamborghini tucked in behind Siviani Madrigal. Will either of them go for a pass? Here comes the pass from Jancic into turn number 1. Hamilton is going to make him stay tucked in close there, use up those tires a little bit as Hamilton stays to the outside. And if you can somehow keep it to the outside around that hairpin, you'll have the inside line for the start of those S's. But you see right there, Hamilton catches one of those sausage curves, going to lose a little bit of time here to Jancic. He's going to have to reel him back in, fight once again to try and get this lead. Back there, Siviani Madrigal is still holding off Bryce Reiner as well. Take a look a little further back in the pack, and a little bit more of a closer battle here between Randy Ayers, Cesar Colon Torres, and Steve Santana here in 11th, 12th, and 13th. But looks like Colon Torres looking to go to the inside here, but I mean, there's a lot of passing opportunities here, but there's so many S turns that you go to make that pass, you go to dive to the inside, and you're in the inside of that corner, but all of a sudden, the very next corner right after it, you're in the outside. So your advantage is null and void very quickly.
Yeah, you're better off if you know that you can get a run out of those S's to set them up for whatever straightaway that you're working on, or if it's just a single non-S turn. Obviously, you see them going wide here, pushing as hard as they can, but it looks like Reiner has the inside here and can get that pass made.
Yeah, this was earlier. Yeah, this was earlier with Madrigal going off track, and Reiner was able to take advantage of it and move himself into second place. We'll take it back live and show you the two of them coming down the front stretch here. You see the bright lights there on the front of that Lamborghini, holding off Siviani Madrigal down the front stretch, trying to keep that McLaren at bay. At the front of the field, battle again and again. Jancic on the inside there is going to hold off Hamilton and keep him in second place, heading through the turn 2 and 3 S's once again. I want to thank everyone out there for tuning in here tonight. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe, get you in touch with everything Inseren has to offer. But man, I mean, we blink, we're already 10 minutes through this race, Jimmy.
Yeah, it doesn't take long. Obviously, lap time's right around that 148-ish time frame. You see, is it Craig Jansen with 147.5? I think that's the fastest lap of the race as of this moment. But definitely these front runners are trying to run away, but we've been battling and has kept Bryce Reiner and Savani in check, so not too far behind. Behind them, obviously still within reach. Christian Torres and Tyler Torville.
Another pass for the lead as Hamilton gets back past the Lamborghini. It seems like the speed section, those long straightaways, the Lamborghini is certainly the better car. But then once you get through these winding parts of the track, that's where the Porsche maybe comes alive a little bit for the time being. And we mentioned before that Porsche likes to kill the tires through the run, so we'll see how long Hamilton has that advantage through the middle part of the track as once again Jansen closes in here on the final corner through the hairpin. And just a unique track here at Mugello. You start with a hairpin, you finish with a hairpin. Long straightaway. I mean, this straightaway feels like it's you're kind of running down the backstretch at the Nürburgring. It is just so long, and once again, opportunity for Jansen to dive to the inside in turn 1, but this time Hamilton's got enough of an advantage to close that door and hold on. We'll see if now can he maybe get away here a little bit through the middle section of this track.
You can try, but I don't think Craig's gonna go anywhere anytime soon. He just was able to not allow him to get that advantage on that straightaway, and was able to stay to that outside and have the advantage going to making the left-hand turn after the hairpin right. So it's definitely a good battle up front between those two as always. But now back here with Stefan Price and seeing what they're doing. This is towards the back of the field. This is 25th, and right in front of him we have Dilemma there in the number 82. So trying to fend him off. So another close battle. Obviously we talk a lot about the leaders, but the battles throughout the field are just insane, and you get the same thing up front, just mid-pack, and it's kind of like a inter-race rivalry between some of your league mates, and this is why they have the AM and the Pro division to kind of give everybody the opportunity to win, so it's not like the same three people kind of taking it all. So it counts for something. So you got to start somewhere. And some people just have more talent than others. And no matter how fast you think you are, there's probably somebody out there that's faster than you.
I believe Stephen Pliss started from pit lane. He is out there in the Corvette. Towards the back of the pack right now in 26th, but he's still up there in the mix, and maybe just kind of avoiding any kind of issues, because this track, it can get very, very hairy. These drivers did a fantastic job on the start of the race, because you got such a long straightaway that even only half of it is when you're going to be on the throttle from the start-finish line at the drop of the green to turn 1. But it's still a long drive, and almost kind of Monza-esque, where you're getting on the gas and you have a long time before you get to that first little chicane. Well, here it's a hairpin, and you got some runoff on the outside, so you got a little bit of leeway, but it's so easy to want to go 3-4 wide into turn number 1, and that's where some of the issues can come into play. But these drivers doing a fantastic job right now. Hamilton able to stretch out here just a little bit, maybe get out of drafting range, as he is out there to just over 1 second over Craig Jansen. Bryce Reiner in 3rd, still holding off Silvino Madrigal in 4th. Christian Ortiz-Torres just kind of running his own race. He's about 2 seconds behind the top 4, and he's got about 2 seconds behind him back to Tyler Torville, who was locked in a little bit of a battle here with Billy Wright, who's trying to run him down, and Billy Wright running some good laps to get up there and try and battle and get himself into the top 6. And you go back to 8th place, Frank Pisano, holding off Stephen McLean right now in the lone Ferrari in the field. is Frank Pisano. McLean right there behind him in one of the very, very popular Porsches out here tonight. And Dave Jensen rounds out the top 10 here tonight. But again, shout out to all these drivers out here, 30 cars in attendance. You may not be able to see them all. You may not be able to see too many of them with this thick layer of fog out here. But either way, it's a good one out here once again for CSRL for race number 3.
Yeah, I mean, these drivers are just, obviously, it's not as bad in the car as it is, obviously, trying to get a little further view and see through the fog to see what these drivers are doing. But obviously, the battles continue, corner after corner, and everybody doing a pretty decent job. Looking back here, I don't know, let's see, got a few people with a few tracks that probably are plugging in just a little bit. Looks like Billy Wright having a few Jason Potts and John Espada. Everybody else is pretty low figures as far as like an off track here and there. I haven't seen any besides the vet. Stephen Pless having issues getting around the track too bad. I mean, obviously we've seen him like pushing the car wide and kicking up the dirt. That's a new feature iRacing got kind of implemented there, where the dirt goes flying and actually gets on the track. I haven't ran across yet where hitting that dirt on the track causes like a hazard, like where you can spin out. But definitely they have flags in play now, so to kind of let you know. So I'm wondering if it's going to be something in the future where one more thing these drivers will have to deal with on the track, that there's debris there, so whether it'll get the car loose or whatever it may be.
Good battle here as Herbert Pineda up on the backside here of William Burrell, and one of the few Acuras out here. I mean, when the Acura first came out, it was a hot new item. It was the one that everybody wanted. A lot of people out there driving it, but it seems like it's maybe already, kind of getting kicked to the wayside here. Maybe it's just the schedule and how everything laid out here for this season. But Jimmy, are you kind of surprised that there's really not that many Acuras out here?
No, I mean, it's a good car to drive. It's a pretty easy car to drive, and it just, for certain tracks, obviously with these drivers only being able to select two, maybe they ran the Acura last season and wanted to mix it up just a little bit. So in that season, obviously closer to when the Acura came out. So usually when a new vehicle comes out, it tends to be the flavor of the month, where everybody wants to drive it as the shiny new toy. So that goes with any series. You got the new ARCA car out, so a lot of people want to drive that. So you'll see a lot of leagues pop up with a new ARCA car, or the M2. Maybe you saw a league wants to do that. So it's just what the fans want, or what the fans want, what the drivers want to drive, and what's good for them at the moment. But right now we're looking at we're at 17 minutes in now, and Christopher Hamilton still hasn't been able to break away from Craig Jancic, so he's going to continue to be consistent here if he wants to try to pull out another victory here tonight. But Rayner back there, 5 seconds back, so not too far, but a good battle here as these three drivers are piling up.
Yeah, there's the battle back here between Dan Morera. Actually, they're reeling in Jason Potts here as well. So, yeah, Jason Potts in 20th, Dan Morera, Todd Torville, and Brandon Potts all right here as well. So good battle back at the back of the pack. But we're already past a third of the way through this race. We're already coming up, getting closer to the halfway point. Maybe not quite in the pit stop strategy just yet. Probably maybe a lap or two yet before we'll start seeing a lot of drivers come in just before the halfway, and just after the halfway seems to be the kind of the money time for these drivers. It just depends on how you're feeling out here. But this is certainly a track where maybe not for your leaders, maybe not for the top 10 as far as pitting and come back out there in clean air, but from the middle of the pack on back, there's a good chance that you come in and when you come back out, you'll have a nice little bit of clean air if you decide to come in and take a short pit on everybody else. So we'll see how the strategies play out here tonight. But again, thank everybody out there for coming out here and racing. I know they're trying to get to that 40 number. They haven't gotten there yet, but I gotta say, Mugello is a newer track to the service, so it's one that maybe not a lot of drivers have. So the fact that they have 30 out here, I think that's a great accomplishment.
Yeah, my take is about if you don't have the track and this is your hobby. I always tell everybody, buy it. If you're eventually going to be on it, it's, if this is iRacing's your thing, it's just, just part of the hobby, making sure that you have everything that you can in order to participate in every event, even just to get out there and practice, even if you don't like the track, it's good to get out there and at least start doing laps on it, and maybe learn good enough to, where you can actually turn some decent time. But you can't do that if you don't have it. So that's my feel on the newer tracks is just buy it. If you're a fan and you're a hobbyist in iRacing, sim racing, I don't have much time here. I mean, I think I did all race here, and I think I pretty much bought it when it came out. Just not only to cover it in broadcast, but just so I could have the opportunity to get out there and broaden my track knowledge from track to track.
We've seen some drivers already taken to pit lane, as Christian Ortiz Torres, the first one to come down pit lane. Randy Ayers and Brandon Lima also in this time. But I mean, it's kind of tough when you have a race like this where there's not that many people making a mistake, because you look at Ortiz Torres up there in the top 5. He comes into the pits and he's down there in 23rd position. That's how far he's fallen, and back out there now on the track. But you see how far behind everybody he is. But everybody is plenty far behind your leaders right now. It is only 0.8 of a second separating the top 2. But then you got a 6-second gap between them and Bryce Reiner in 3rd. Reiner not exactly breaking away from Siviani Madrigal, who is right there behind him, battling for 3rd and 4th. Then you got another 6, almost 7-second gap between the top 4 and Tyler Torville, who still has Billy Wright not too far behind him. And I think looks like maybe Wright saving the energy in that car. It doesn't look like his lights are on that Porsche. So I don't know. Maybe saving the electricity. Maybe it helps with the helps with the system.
I think all the Porsches don't have their lights on. I mean, it's a tactic, like you can't see me and I'll
it's
get
full
by
team
it,
orders. Save it. I mean,
it's one of those. I think it's a setting in when you go to the garage. I think it's something you can actually turn on for so your lights are on. I think even if in a fixed race, I think you can still manage the lights. This is like the Lamborghinis. They have that big light bar, and I know if you don't click something, it can typically maybe not even be on the one in the middle. So I know a lot of people used to complain about the Lamborghini because the lights are just, you just see how bright they are when they come around the corner. You can't. It's very distinct light bar of the Lamborghini, just kind of like the Ferrari's got all kinds of running lights as well. If you look at the front of the Ferrari that's out there, you can see the multiple lights that are just plagued on the front end of that car. And I think that has to deal with if you look at the back end of the Ferrari, it seems like that thing doesn't have any brake lights. You see all the running lights on the cars right now, they're nice and red. The Ferrari, just a blank slate until they eventually tap the brakes and then you see these little tiny lights pop up. So maybe something iRacing needs to look into, or it hasn't been brought to their attention as far as something simplistic like that. But it can make a big deal, especially during a rain race.
I mean, listen, I know a lot of times racing is all about reducing as much weight as possible to make that car faster. But I mean, a light fuse. I'm not sure how much a fuse is going to save you. An 1/8 of a pound. I mean, I don't know, whatever it is, but why not? Any little bit.
I mean, they're guessing leaders, and it's not feel good. I mean.
Well, either way, we've got a good race here. We're past the halfway point right now. It is still Chris Hamilton in the lead by 0.7 of a second over Craig Jancic, Bryce Reiner, Siviani Madrigal, and Tyler Torville, your top 5. Then you got Wright, Pisano, McLean, Jensen, and Pineda for your top 10. But more pit stops are starting here. Dan Barrera into the pits, as is Jason Potts. Looks like Jay Little also made his pit stop last lap as well, so it's starting to get a little more busy, but we still got plenty of cars that have yet to make their pit stops, and we'll see who's going to come in and who's going to try and stretch this thing out just a little bit further. I mean, this is a track that it's got a lot of time on the throttle, but in the same case, if you're kind of tucked in behind one of these battles, like we see a lot of close battles out there, and maybe it gives you an opportunity for that draft, and maybe, you know, just kind of running 90% throttle and allow you to save all the way down these straightaways and maybe stretch this fuel out a little bit longer, maybe a lap or two. We'll see how everything plays out, but want to send a thank you out there to our series sponsors, Martin PC and 40racewear.com. Certainly check both of them out. Martin PC for all your components, computer, everything like that, get you all set up, and then once you get your rig all set up, you need some good gear to race with, and certainly you can get some racing gloves, or even the original racing gloves for your feet over there at 40racewear.com. And I mean, like you said, Jimmy, it's a you know, it's a hobby.
40racewear.com and check those things out, because I'm always, I mean, I go anything from wearing socks to some Crocs. I don't like wearing, I mean, I would do barefoot, but I can't, it doesn't work very well for me, it just hurts my feet, so I need some sort of something on my foot in order for it to kind of relieve the pain of my foot if I drive for long periods of time. And I definitely get into a running, like, you know, endurance event, so maybe I need to go over and venture over and see what 40 racewear maybe it must for like Jimmy's feet.
Well, I mean, you know, you mentioned it's a hobby, and you know, you wouldn't go out there and play baseball in sneakers. You want to have cleats, and you know, that's essentially what you can do with the iRacing here. I mean, you want to have good grip on your feet. You're not going to get that with socks, and at least for me, it doesn't feel right barefoot, and it certainly doesn't feel good in sneakers. I don't feel like I have any feel in sneakers, so you know, you head over there to 40racewear.com, you get those original racing gloves for your feet, and it's like basically having grippy socks, and it's like having racing shoes on your feet. And you're going to have that feel, but you're going to have that flexibility and comfort, as you know, as mentioned, for those double and triple stints out there. Well, we're getting close to I think it's pretty much go time for go-go juice and going into the pits, so I think you'll see a lot of drivers starting to pull off. Chris Hamilton running his fastest lap of the race this last lap, 147.41. Still not able to pull away too much though.
3 or 4 laps still remaining in the tank, believe it or not, Carl.
Oh, yeah, I think they can stretch it out, but I feel like, you know, it's around that time where you want to come in, because you can stretch it out, but the earlier you come in, the earlier you can kind of cool down those tires and be able to bang out a couple good laps. But I mean, there's so much to factor in there. You got to look at where you're going to come out there on the track. I know there's some software out there that'll, you know, kind of give you an idea of where you'll come back out on the track. I mean, it's big if you're into Formula One racing. You see it all the time for you know, the drivers and the teams trying to figure out exactly when to pit for not only tire wear, but where they're going to come back out on the track. I mean, you don't want to come back on the track behind slower traffic, behind lap cars, anything like that. So it's tough, and especially if you're running out there by yourself. But I'll tell you what, I don't know if Jancic is holding back here, trying to save a little bit of fuel. We've seen this before, where late in the run, Jancic just kind of falling off the pace here. And I mean, up until these last couple laps, he was kind of hanging right around a second behind Hamilton. And even at the end of this previous lap, he was about maybe 1.2 behind Hamilton. All of a sudden, it's up to 3.8 seconds.
I can't tell you. I mean, Craig's a very talented driver, and you know, maybe what he was doing is not quite working for him. So maybe that little bit of saving as Chris Hamilton's going to take to the pits, and Craig Jancic's going to stay out for one more. So maybe let her rip Tater Chip, put on his fastest lap on that light fuel. Maybe that's what he was doing, was trying to extend it so he can get at least one more good lap in. So Craig Jancic back to the lead as Christopher Hamilton takes to the pits, along with Savani and Billy Wright's in there as well. So and McLean, Dave Jansen. So bunch of drivers coming in right now. As the board is starting to light up there, you can see the little P next to the list of drivers. So definitely going to be an interesting one to see where everybody kind of falls out. Because sometimes somebody has a great pit stop, a flawless, and then you know somebody that maybe not so much, a little timid coming in, trying to get too much, slide through a pit box or whatever it may be. So we'll see how they all pan out here very shortly. As right now we're with Craig Jancic as he leads here at Mugello.
Yeah, I do remember, I believe it might have been Jancic that mentioned it, that the Lamborghini seems to get some pretty good gas mileage just by itself. So maybe that's what he was doing. He was just hanging back, saving a little bit to make sure he can get an extra lap or two in this Lambo. And you see Bryce Reiner in second place also in the Lamborghini. So he's stretching this thing out a little bit here as well. Frank Bassano and William Burrell, the last ones to pit here tonight, as everyone else has made their pit stop. Chris Hamilton is the highest running car that has made his pit stop. Silviani Madrigal in 6th place right now has made his pit stop as well. So we should see the last remaining cars maybe come in this time. We'll see if, yeah, there goes Jancic over to the right-hand side to head off into pit lane. Reiner going to come in behind him. Taking a look here at Frank Bassano, still coming through the final sectors of this track and coming around the final hairpin. And we'll see if that Wonder Bread number 4 also comes in to complete his pit stop. And yep, you see him back there in the distance. He's going to come in. And then the last one, now coming to the hairpin, William Burrell. He is the last one that has yet to come into the pits. But okay, take an eye over here at Craig Jancic. Will hop on board and we'll see where he is going to slot out. Still shown ahead of Chris Hamilton, as Hamilton, look at the wrong person there. Hamilton right there coming out, and over on the left is Craig Jancic. Going to be a bit of a battle, but Jancic is not going to be able to make the overcut. Hamilton back out into the lead, but Jimmy, remember it was 3.8 seconds? It's down to 0.4 now. Whatever Jancic was doing, he made up for it in the pit stop for sure. Maybe that extra lap got to take a little bit less fuel. Boy, it paid off.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he was probably hoping to come out in front of Chris, but you know, obviously Chris run pretty consistent laps, had a decent pit stop himself, so maybe not perfect or flawless, but enough to continue to have that lead here as Jancic tried to take advantage of some clean air, light fuel, and maybe step in front. But battle here is Dan Herrera looking to the outside of that Porsche.
Yeah, battling here with Randy Ayers, and Randy just able to keep that inside through the hairpin. It's enough to get him into turn 2 with the position still. Battle here for 17th and 18th, and one of the closest battles here on the track. Paul Bailey looks like he's back into the pits, so I'm not sure if it was some issues here or not, but he is going to be back in pit lane right now with the 569. Out front, Hamilton able to get away here a little bit. Remember, he pit earlier, and maybe he got those tires fired up a little bit quicker than Jancic, and able to utilize that, get away here a little bit. 1.5 seconds this time by the line, and we're down to the last 12 minutes plus a lap of this race. So it's a good run right now for the 64 Hamilton, Jancic, Reiner, Madrigal for your top 4. William Burrell, I guess he didn't pit last time by. That's WY. So he is making his pit stop right now. I was going to say that I don't think he was up there that high and then has to pit again, but he is going to make his pit stop right now. So stretching it way out there is William Burrell. He's going to complete the pit cycle now. So Billy Wright going to move up into 5th. Craig Bassano, Tyler Torville, Richard Ortiz-Torres, Stephen McLean, and Dave Jensen for your top 10, as Burrell currently in 12th. Looks like he's going to slide out right around 13th. Devin Young goes by. Cesar Torres Torres goes by, and there goes Anthony Hutchinson as well. Haven't really talked about Hutchinson too much here tonight. Right back there in 14th position right now. And it's actually Stephen McLean, who is your top running amateur class driver.
Yeah, and like I said, this track is tricky. And if you're a little bit newer, maybe to running GT3s. It is about flow, not overdriving in the beginning of an S, and getting a good drive through the S and the exit being typically the benefiting factor of your next turn. So overturn it just messes you all up. It messes your flow up. It sets the car up so you just struggle and you end up burning tires or getting sideways. It's a mess when you mess up a corner, and I'm guilty of it. Obviously, you're trying to push it, and you're up on your fastest lap. So we have delta bars on the screens, and a lot of times some of us chase them, and you're just setting one of your fastest laps, and then you overdrive a corner, and then you just watch all that time and effort that you had throughout the whole track just go to waste because you overdrove a corner. But you see how the drivers here are respectful of each other and going side by side through corners too. So that's one thing that I love seeing over here at CSRL is just the good, the good fighting, the good driving, the racing, the camaraderie between the drivers, and there's give and take. I don't hardly ever see anybody diving in corners and just trying to make something happen. Obviously they got to race against these guys next week, so they have great races, have a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun watching them.
Not sure what happened here to Devin Young, but he ended up having to jump into the pits. Here's the 15 of Young, just slides off, gets into the kitty litter here, and gets it back going. I don't see any kind of issues here at all, but keep an eye on it here. He ended up decided to jump into the pits, so not sure what exactly happened here. Trying to keep an eye on it here to see if maybe it was a situation where he took too many X's coming through with the final corner here, but he does stay. Nope, he does dive into the pits. And maybe he just decided to retire at that point. But
he hit the limit. It'll drive through.
Yeah, that will do it. Well, the lead has shrunk back down again. It was out to about 1.5, almost 2 seconds. But Jancic running the fastest lap of the race by a hundredth faster than Chris Hamilton's fastest lap, 147.40, and it's enough to close him right into 0.4 seconds behind. And now down to 0.3, he is definitely on the loud pedal, trying to reel in Hamilton and push Hamilton back to second one more time late in this race. We'll see if the Porsche has any tires left to hold him back. Looks like they're coming up on a little bit of lap traffic as well. See if that comes into play before this thing is over. But it's getting close to that time. We're about 8 minutes from the end of this race, and you can't make a mistake at any point, but certainly not at this point right now. Hamilton doing a good job. Jancic, Reiner, Madrigal, and Wright for your top 5.
Just kind of, it says Devin Young brought it to our attention. I'm just kind of looking over, and I'm not going to say anything because I don't want nobody to gain advantage, but looking at some of the incidents, there's a few out there, Carl. If we see a couple unscheduled pit stops and don't know why, but they're very close to hitting that 16 incident mark. So, unfortunately, I know some of the drivers like to listen while we're talking, and I'm not going to spoil any just to be like, oh, bump, and then next thing I got to drive through. So that's not fair. So I won't do that to anybody. But it is nice to see, to kind of see where the drivers stand, and I do like the ability where obviously when somebody does get a black flag or some of these overlays now, they do get that information, and you can tell quickly tell what happened. Obviously with SDK, they're keeping track of kind of what's going on the track, and that's how we're able to be we're watching the leaders, and then somebody in the back of the pack is gone off track or wrecked, and we can jump right to it. So it just makes it easier for us, and that's what SDK does for us. I can't, obviously I don't think I've ever talked to anybody from SDK, but with the service they provide and the platform that they gave us, as far as a lot of streamers or broadcasters, definitely has made life a lot easier. I'm sure we would have figured something out Even if it goes away, I'm sure we will figure something out because I won't give up. But definitely has made life a tremendous amount easier. And I don't know, maybe one of these days, if I can meet somebody that knows some coding knowledge, maybe I ought to do some really custom overlays for some of these leagues, or just in general for CRN. It would be great to have. But till then, we will work with our little bit of knowledge programming that we got to keep things flowing here at CRN. But great run so far. Christopher Hamilton out front with Craig Jancic. Bryce Rayner is in third. Savani is in fourth. Billy Wright's in fifth. Frank Pisano, Tyler Torville, Christian Torres, Stephen McLean, and Herbert Pineda for your top 10 so far. So you see the pro guys kind of dominating the front part of the field. But McLean just kind of hanging in there in an 85 Porsche, trying to get himself a top 10. Right there in front of Pineda. Jensen back in there, and 11th overall, but second for your AM drivers.
So this is where the lap cars are going to come into play, and it's going to help in some some circumstances and hurt as well. You've seen on the front stretch here, maybe a little team play there between the Porsches as Brendan De Lima stays in the racing line for a little bit, maybe gives a little bit of a tow there to Chris Hamilton before he pulled over, helped him stretch out a little bit of a lead over Jansen. And now you see the opposite. You see the Acura there, very close with Brandon Potts as the leaders go on by, as he was touching the kitty litter just a little bit, and that's not what the leaders want to see right in front, but they did get around them. They got Todd Torville is the next one in line.
Oh, somebody hit the wall. That's Todd Torville.
Yeah, Todd Torville just speaking of him right there. We'll take a look and see what happened here. Off into the grass here a little bit. Maybe he's one of those watching while he's racing, and we're just talking about him. And I got scared of the leaders coming up there. And decided to take it straight to the wall there. Lost his front end in the process. Sivani Madrigal had a bit of an excursion here, trying to get around and off there again. It seemed like a popular spot for him here tonight, but still a good showing here in his return up into fourth place. Had a bit of a run in third before making a couple mistakes and allowed Reiner to get on by. And Reiner is still up there in front of him, about 3 seconds though ahead of Madrigal. And it's 7 seconds separating Reiner and the top two. That's how good Hamilton and Jancic have been tonight, and they're pretty much our best battle on the track. We get a couple more back here in the back half of the top 10 with Tyler Torville, Christian Ortiz Torres, and Steve McLean, 7th, 8th, and 9th. But there we go. Get us back live here as here you go. With Christian Ortiz Torres coming down the front stretch, maybe a bit of a draft, maybe a bit of a run here, try and get him up there into 7th place. You take a look at the overlays, as we mentioned, SDK. What they do with the intervals is, if it's white, it's over a second gap. There's not really a battle coming into play. But you see when it's orange like that, like between Torville and Torres, it's an imminent battle. It is right there, and now you see McLean coming into the picture as well. If it's in the yellow, it's getting close to being a battle, but this is a full-fledged battle at this point, and looks like the wipers on there for Christian Ortiz Torres, maybe trying to get the rubble that has kind of gotten onto the track, and it gets thrown up, and it's kind of funny. It can affect the handling for sure, but it's also it's funny just being in the car and just hearing the rocks just plastering your car, and you're just kind of waiting for one of them to crack your windshield virtually.
Yeah, they definitely have the sounds down pat, as long as I'm waiting for the models to really come into play, and I'm glad they don't make them as slick as what they can be. And because obviously you driving in real life, you come across some dirt in the road, definitely don't have any traction there, or can definitely affect your braking. But battles here ending, or trying to come out of the end, as we only have about a minute left, I believe. So maybe one more lap.
Yeah, trying to see if we can get picture of Barney anywhere along the way here and see, and I just...
Yes, he's waving the white flag now.
He is waving. Okay, yeah, so we are on the final lap here, and we'll get over here to our leaders and see if Hamilton can hold off the late charge here from Jancic. Still a half a second in between the top two, and Hamilton has led a majority of this race so far through the fog. It is not lifted. There's a lot of times where it starts off really foggy, and then once the sun comes out, everything kind of clears up. It did not clear up here at all, but Hamilton has got only about half a track left before he can claim a victory here tonight, but it is not over by any means. One little slip up and Jancic will gladly take a top spot here once again. Closes into half a second through the S's. They'll head down into the hairpin here, and looks like the tire's holding on just enough here for Hamilton through the hairpin. Quick little S-turn before they'll head into the final corner. One more hairpin, and Hamilton's just got to worry about getting a good exit. Doesn't want to have Jancic get any kind of toe down that front stretch. As Jancic closes in again, tries to dive in there, get real close, and he did, down to 0.3 of a second, but he's not going to have the drive now off the corner. Hamilton going to race him to the line and flashing his lights as your winner. Chris Hamilton wins it here, round number 3 at Mugello. Jancic coming home in second. Bryce Reiner going to come home in third. Siviani Madrigal right there in fourth. Billy Wright coming through the final corners here. He is going to look to come home in the top 5, and looking like he's going to do so in that Porsche. Good run for the grid here as Billy Wright's going to grab a top 5 here tonight, and he is certainly happy about that as well. Frank Pisano flashing his lights, coming home with a good 6th place finish. Tyler Torville going to hold off the charges and finish in 7th. Christian Ortiz Torres, Stephen McLean rounding out 8th and 9th. Robert Pineda, a heck of a drive back through the field. He started up there in 6th place, had the early issues, fell back into the deep part of the field, but drove all the way back up there to round out the top 10. So a good drive back through the field for the 99 as teammate pulls up there alongside of him. Dave Jensen going to finish right behind him in 11th place. But top finishers, Chris Hamilton for the Pro class, Steve McLean for the AM class. Good drive for those drivers. Once we get all the results in here, we'll give you a full rundown. But Jimmy, I mean, all in all, very, very little issues from the drivers out here tonight. And I believe we had 27 cars still running at the end of this race out of the 30. So I know there's a lot of runoff at this track, but it's still pretty dang good.
Yeah, plenty of runoff, and obviously a lot of drivers looking through, obviously, the incidents and stuff, and you know, some drivers having more trouble than others. A couple that were pretty close. Jancic, matter of fact, was really close. He was at 15. One more, he would have got his drive-through penalty, but obviously pushing it to try to catch Christopher Hamilton, but nobody with a 0x. So everybody was off the track just once, but your cleanest driver, Stephen McLean, with 1.
Yeah, that'll certainly do it, and that's why he's your top finishing AM class driver here tonight. But we are now official. We got our final results here for the race. So while I'm getting everybody up here into the booth for some interviews, Jimmy, why don't you give us a rundown of tonight's results?
Got results here for tonight are going to be Christopher Hamilton will walk away the winner here over Craig Jancic, Bryce Reiner for your top 3. Then Savani's in 4th, Billy Wright, Frank Pisano, Tyler Torville, Christian Torres, Stephen McLean, and Herbert Pineda for your top 10. And then back to the rest of the field, you have Dave Jansen in 11th, Anthony Hutchinson in 12th, Cesar Torres in 13th, William Burrell in 14th, Dan Marrera in 15th, Steve Santana in 16th, Randy Ayers in 17th, Ian Southern in 18th, Ian Wilson in 19th, Glenn Lawson will finish in 20th after having some spin arounds. And actually it was good to see him that he got that car going back in the right direction and have a pretty decent finish. John Espada there 21st, Jason Potts in 22nd, Brandon Potts in 23rd. Dilemma is back there in 24th. Todd Torvell in 25th. Stefan Price back in 26th. Jay Little in 27th. Devon Young in 28th. 29th will be Paul Bailey. And Stephen Pless will finish out the top 30. And just to give a little shout out there for Billy Wright, I know he's trying to get something going on Friday nights. I believe they want to try to get some drivers together for some multi-class racing. So if you're interested in some multi-class racing, I think it's the GT3s and LMP2s, I believe.
Correct. Yep.
I'm not. So if you're interested in something like that, hit up Billy Wright, and I'm sure let us know, and we can try to get you in the right direction for getting in touch with those drivers if you're interested on driving Friday nights in a multi-class, which adds another dynamic to some of these tracks here like Mugello.
Well, it figures that we're done with the race now, and it is just as beautiful as ever here in the countryside in Italy. The sun is shining.
Been to Italy?
It is just, it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, you can't ask for a nicer day. It looks a little breezy looking at the trees here, but other than that, really no fog to speak of. So it's a beautiful time to try and talk to our gentlemen that finished on the podiums for each of the classes. And we'll start with the pro class here tonight. We'll give them their due, as everyone had a great run on here tonight. But third place tonight is going to be the driver of the number 24, and it's going to be Bryce Reiner bringing home that Lamborghini in third place. Bryce, one of the tracks that it's got a lot of speed, a lot of straightaways here, and the Lamborghini was one of the cars that both you and Jancic picked here as your two cars for the season. So kind of a bit of a no-brainer here picking Lambo for tonight.
Yeah, I think so. I didn't really do much testing with the Mustang because I know me and Craig both have the same cars in the garage. So we kind of go off of each other and see how, quick or slow one car is compared to the other. But overall, it felt really, really tied up to the track tonight. I don't know what it was. It could just be the track temp or how to navigate through all the S's and the chicanes that we have here. And it just felt really gripped up to the track. So thought we had really, really good pace. Back-to-back races to where I feel like I have enough pace for the guys up front, but I just can never get past that one car until they're already pretty much gone. So, but overall, super fun race, super fun track, and glad that I'm home with a P3 finally.
Yeah, that one car that you were battling, it was Saviani Madrigal returning here to the series, at least for tonight. We'll see if he decides to come back full time or not. But you guys had a heck of a battle, and it wasn't until he kind of made a mistake, drove off into the kitty litter, that gave you that opportunity to get her on by him. He didn't look back, but he didn't exactly fall back until past the pit stop in kind of the second half of the race, where did it get a little lonely for you out there? I mean, he had so much of a gap in between first, second, and you there in third.
Yeah, it kind of brings me back to Algarve that we raced last week. I mean, I was literally in my own little bubble after, the couple incidences that we had last week right around me. And then this week battling Steve. He's a phenomenal driver, so I can't complain about how we battled and how we fought. But when he did make that mistake, that was my go time, and I needed to get around him pretty quick because at that point, they were already out to like 6 seconds. So, once the fuel kept coming down and pit stops were going, I was hitting some pretty fast laps, and I think the certain sectors, I want to say the double right-hander, the sweeping right corner, couple corners before that, and then after that whole sector right there, that was, I think, the Lambo's strong suit. So that's where I kind of pulled away. As long as I was able to get away from the draft, I thought I was in a pretty good position to hold my own and hope the pit stop went all perfect, and we come out with P3. So.
Well, it was a good run out there for all the drivers out there, and maybe a little lonely, like you said here, for your run for P3, but I'm sure you don't mind just getting out there and just getting some practice laps in and finishing on the podium as well, getting up there to talk to us. So congrats on the finish here tonight. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Yeah, thank you. Super happy about P3. It's been a while trying to get onto the podium here, especially in the pro class where you got a bunch of fast guys. So besides that one win that I had against Craig, I was pretty much stalled out P4, P5 for a while. I know I have the speed for them. It's just, you know, when the opportunity presents itself, I got to take it. So we'll keep moving on. But huge thanks to you guys up in the booth for putting us on YouTube every week. It's awesome to watch these back and see how much of a battle we all have on the track. And want to thank my dad for watching. I believe he's watching. He always cheers me on and watches, you know, on the certain days I do league stuff. But shout out to him. Shout out to Craig and Chris for a heck of a run, like each and every week. So, you know, they're going to be up there no matter what. Thanks to Digital Sim Sports, Team Conti Sim Performance, and all the followers.
And maybe eventually they'll get sick of each other and they'll start taking each other out, and then it'll give you a little bit better opportunity to get up there.
Gosh, I sure hope so.
Well, we'll try and set some broadcasters' curse towards them a little bit to try and get it going there for you. But either way, congrats again on the podium. We'll let you go celebrate. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you guys. You guys have a good one.
You too, buddy. That is your third place finisher here overall and in the pro class. The 24 of Bryce Reiner. Second place, Jimmy, is going to be the 88 of Craig Jancic.
Yeah, Craig, Jimmy, and Carl in the booth. Copy.
Yes, sir.
Another week chasing the safety car around, I see. You guys had one heck of a battle. I thought for sure that we seen you lay back just a little bit there right before the pit stop, and it was close with Chris coming down the front stretch. We thought maybe you were going to be able to make that pass with an outstanding pit stop and probably a heck of a lap before that coming in. So I really commend you that, and a very well executed pit stop, and looked good from here, but wasn't quite just enough. Seemed like Chris just had that Porsche. And I guess I'll give you the opportunity to kind of give your side of the story, and if there's anything different that maybe could have put you on the top here tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Slippery track. Very, very slippery. As soon as we, really from lap one, pace kind of fell off like 3/4 tenths of a second per lap. You could just kind of feel that there wasn't going to be much of your grip, which I kind of knew in the back. I thought in the back of my head it was going to really be a nail in the coffin to this Lamborghini that just sits on the rear tires on acceleration, which is a quality of a car that I really enjoy driving, and I find it to be very fun, but it just something about the way that these track surfaces are heating these tires is just not agreeing with the full 45 minutes for me. I had a massive moment on lap 16 on Chris's end lap, and I almost lost the whole car on that one. So that put me like 4 seconds back of him, and then I had honestly an amazing in lap. Probably would have been a purple lap for the race. But brought it in pit road and executed really well on what I could execute on pit road, and just didn't quite have enough. Then got held up at a bad time by a lap car on that out lap, and that's kind of all she wrote. I tried to cool it down for 2 laps after that and send a full attack, but just wasn't quite enough, and it's unfortunate, but man, it was a lot of fun. Chris and I had a really good battle there for laps like 5, 6, 7 area, and it just continues to be a hell of a lot of fun to show up here on Wednesday nights, man.
Yeah, I mean, the battling between you two is by far some of the fun to watch. Obviously, you're both courteous and give each other room, and when to back off, so you can live another corner, and instead of trying to force something that's not needed right away. It's not like it's the last lap and the last corner and you're going all out. But I mean, we've seen you even race those corners and still give each other room and space and courtesy. So it's just a testament of just yourself and Chris and everybody else out there. Just a great driving and fun to watch. It's not dirty driving or anything like that. So it's great. It's makes me want to come back here every Wednesday, obviously, and to continue to broadcast for everybody and just to see what kind of race is going to happen, see who's going to come away the victor, and how the race is going to turn out. Maybe with the Lambo having its issues, maybe revisit the Ford.
I think so. I think we're going to have to put a little bit more weight into that throughout the week, leading up to these races. It's honestly, man, I really thought that I would have like the 2-car gauntlet that I would want here. I thought I really nailed it in selecting them, but it turns out that might not have been the case. And, believe it or not, we were about a half a second, myself and Bryce, were close to half a second faster on hot laps in the Huracan versus in the Mustang. And it, I really think with how slippery this track was, the Ford would have been a little bit more even than this was. But at the same time, as I navigate over here to the schedule tab for us, we got a lot of tracks upcoming that I think are going to suit this well. Road America, I think that's going to be a Mustang heaven with some of those high speeds. I think that Coda's probably going to handle it well. I know Road Atlanta and Sebring are going to handle it well. Then Le Mans is just going to be whatever car has a higher number in the tachometer for top speed. I don't really care how it drives the rest of the time. So it's
the true statement.
We got a lot of fun to look forward to here, and I am in no way disappointed with second, but we're gonna reach a point pretty soon where if we keep letting Chris have these wins, then it's gonna make a 4P pretty tough. So we'll have to maybe just dig a little bit deeper and figure some things out here at in the Digital Sim Sports camp.
Well, it's definitely great to see you out there and great to see you trying. But yeah, you are correct, and trying to maybe change something up to even the score a little bit, as Chris is starting to pull away just a little bit. But I know you got something in the tank for him. So either way, we want to congratulate you on your great finish here of second place and give you a little bit of time for any shouts you may have before we let you get out of here.
Yeah, huge thanks to you guys, Core Racing Network. Best of the best in the iRacing broadcasting sect, and we can't thank you guys enough for the work you guys do. We've got Team Conti Sim Performance as always. Yes, it's an oval team, but you get better every lap you turn on iRacing. It doesn't matter what kind of car you're driving. So thanks to those guys as well. Digital Sim Sports Endurance Racing Team, Studio 3, Painter, Martin PC, Brian Haynes, the man, the myth, the legend, Rich Pachuco, guys at Martin PC, thanks so much for their support. Mom, Dad, Aunt Sandy, my girlfriend Anna, Chris, if you're watching tonight, thank you. Really, lots of fun to be had here on Wednesday nights, all you viewers out there. So send a message my way or the Core Racing Network guys' way, and we can get in contact and get you out here on track.
Well, again, congratulations on the second place finish, and we'll let you go celebrate with them, friends and family.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Second place overall and the pro class is going to be the 88 of Craig Jancic. Winner here tonight is going to be the 64 of Chris Hamilton, and it certainly wasn't easy, and Craig made you work for it. But Chris, you get another win here on the season. That safety car leading the field here once again. Were you worried at all when it comes to the speed? It seems like that Lamborghini is to be favored, at least for some of the top guys here, both Jancic and Reiner having the Lamborghini for just the sheer speed section of it, and it seemed like Craig could get the better view on that long straightaway, but you had the better car to work through that middle section of the track.
Yeah, I noticed it when I was racing with Craig, is he was destroying me on the first half of the track, like absolutely gapping me. But then I would retake whatever I lost in that I would make up again in the second half of the course. So it was kind of an interesting back and forth between us, ranging from mistakes and trying to minimize them. I had 8x before 15 minutes, so I was like, let's not let's not waste I think I ended with 10. So any wrong move, I probably would have got a penalty. But yeah, just kind of running my race, doing it. It was definitely some spicy moments him there with Craig, but we kept it fairly clean. We were joking about it beforehand, where we're gonna run into each other one of these days. We don't know when.
Well,
we'll know when it happens.
We were already talking to Bryce Reiner about that, in hopes that for him that you guys run into each other a little bit, give him a chance. But I mean, it came down to the pit stops here, and really the kind of the pit exit for Craig Jancic got very, very close to getting you. I mean, you had a pretty good size gap when you came into the pits, as Jancic had a bit of a moment on your end lap to give you a good few second gap heading in, but the overpit almost got you there. The overcut from Jancic got you just into the lead. Do you feel like if he came out in front of you there, it was going to be tough sledding to get around him?
I definitely didn't help my case blowing my pit box. That was great. So whatever
there's that
advantage I gained with him messing up, I just gave it right back in the pit lane. So it kind of evened itself out. I don't know if I want to say yes, I could have found a way around him had he taken the lead. But I think I just built enough of a buffer that it just came down to hitting my marks and lap traffic. Just kind of minimizing the damage done, kind of maintaining.
Well, you're maintaining a heck of a pace for the entire season. You come in here as the points leader by 3 points over Jancic, and just going to stretch that lead out here a little bit. He gets the better of you in qualifying. First time you're not on the pole for the start of the race. I mean, did that hurt? Did that give you a little extra motivation here for the race? And you're like, you know what, you can take the pole, but I'm going to take the win.
In the moment, I was definitely like, what do I got to do to catch this guy? But I've been taking it like one step at a time. In between the off season, I did some changes to my rig, and I feel like it's been helping. I'll say it's pseudo is helping, even though I didn't really do much to it. I got to change the seat. I have inverted pedals now. I could go back if I want to, but there's some of these off-season changes that might have helped. But then I broke my brake pedal in the process, so I'm scared that this thing is going to let go on me any second now. So it's happened to me in practice. I'm surprised it hasn't happened in the. I want to knock on your wood rig, Carl. We're knock on wood. It doesn't happen. But yeah, we're taking it one step at a time, and we'll continue doing that for the rest of the season. Not sure. The European swing is coming to an end, so we're going back to America here, and I think he's better at the American tracks than I am. So we'll see.
Yeah, that was going to be my next point. You guys head back to the USA for 3 straight races: Road America, COTA, and Road Atlanta. Any of those that you're maybe looking forward to? Any of those that just kind of frighten you a little bit?
Truth be told, COTA, I've only driven that course in a stock car and a Formula One car for the hell of it. I have no idea how it's going to be in a GT3 car. I'm sure it's going to be fine, but
somewhere in between.
Yeah, well, somewhere in between.
It's not going to be it's not going to be dog poop like the stock car would be, and it's not going to have as much grip as the Formula One, I would assume. So, well, we'll see how you do. That's going to come up in a couple weeks here, but Road America coming up next. We'll see if you can go back to back here, get another win. And see if you can keep this points lead and see if you can keep Craig Jancic behind no matter what car he's in. But before we let you go and get out of here, who do you have a shout out to or thanks to win that 64?
Huge shout out to Parks de la Cruz for the iRacing safety car paint scheme. The more people tell me that it's such a good paint scheme, I'm more like, it's all Parks, it's all him. He did that. It's the fact that it can screw people up. Even when you just at a glance, it's like, is that the safety car? What's it doing out there? So, but it's a great paint scheme. Huge shout out to Craig for always having such clean battles. We're gonna boot one of these days. I just don't know when. And then, but it's always been good hard racing. All the competitors here at CSRL, and thank you guys for the broadcast.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to the battles between you guys, whether it involves a boop or not. It's certainly great battling for us to watch out here on the track, up here in the booth, and certainly for the fans out there at CRN. So, thanks again for putting on a good race and another win here. We'll let you go celebrate and see you next week at Road America.
Hey, here's to it, boys.
Winner here tonight in the Pro Class and overall the 64 of Chris Hamilton. We'll get over now to the top 3 in the AM Class. And third place here tonight, Jimmy, is going to be the number 2 of Anthony Hutchinson.
Hey, Anthony, Jimmy, Carl, from the booth. You copy?
Yes, sir, I do. How are you guys today?
Oh, not too bad. We wanted to congratulate you on your third place finish with the AM division. Looks like you finished, I think it was 12th overall. So not a bad run altogether. So just to give you a little time to share your side of the story and how things went for you tonight.
Well, this was definitely not my strong track. I did not expect to be on the podium tonight, to be completely honest with you. I think I qualified 7th or 8th in my class overall. So I was really just racing for points at this point, trying to, just trying to have a good, consistent finish. But luckily, I just kind of put my head down and drove my lines, and it started working in my favor. I didn't think I was going to be able to pass third for the actual position there towards the end. But I was able to reel him in, and the opportunity arose. So, here I am.
Yeah, definitely.
Ultimately, it was a fun race, though. It was a lot of fun. Probably should have spent a little bit more time practicing it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, Magello's not very I have some laps, but not a lot of laps here. I'd have to be like you, be out there just spinning lap after lap after lap, just kind of memorizing, how, depending on what car I was driving, how they handled. Because I think I've raced here, I think, in the McLaren, and I've done some testing with the Ford here, so it's just a lot of fun just to kind of get around this track. But not too bad of a track. You had a great finish, and obviously you were able to move up 5 spots from your starting position. So overall, still a great run, and you talk about consistent, getting up here on the podium, and that's just going to work towards your AM championship here for the season, as we're still young here in the season, but won't be too much longer. It'll be starting to tighten down or batten down the hatches and trying to see who's going to work their way for that the over or for the AM champion. So so we wanted to recognize and that you did a great job, and say congratulations, and give you some time for any shout-outs on that number 2.
I appreciate it, gentlemen. Yeah, I give a shout out, obviously, to my wife. Appreciate everything she does and putting up with me. All my team members over at Ace Motorsports. Big congratulations to Steve. He finished first. That's one of our team members as well. So hats off to him. All my family. My dad's watching. I really appreciate his support. My daughter may be watching in college, or at least she'll tell me she is. She probably isn't, but that's okay. And you guys for putting on, for broadcasting this and giving us a chance, and we really appreciate it. And it was a lot of fun tonight. So hats off to everyone that raced tonight. And it was, like I said, look forward to next week. Road America should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that one more so than I did tonight. But again, I'll take third.
Yeah, leaving the European circuits, heading back to the States. Like you said, you're looking forward to it, so that's a good thing to hear. Look forward to hopefully seeing you back up here in the booth here again to talk to us maybe next week. So we'll wish you the best of luck next week, and we'll let you go celebrate with your friends and family.
Appreciate it, gentlemen. You guys have a good night.
You too.
That is your third place finisher here in the AM class, 12th place overall. The 2 of Anthony Hutchinson. Second place in the M class, and finishing just ahead in 11th place is going to be the 692 of Dave Jensen. Dave, you had a heck of a good race out there. You end up getting bested there by your teammate for overall position there towards the end, with Pineda getting you. So, I mean, talk us through this race. It was foggy as you know what here up here in the booth. I know it was certainly a little bit better for you guys behind the wheel, but do you feel like the weather conditions kind of affected the track a little bit? We heard some drivers mentioning it was a bit slick out there.
Oh yeah, I think 100% humidity. Yeah, the track was soaked, or it felt soaked. Turn 1, my teammate Herb Pineda, that passed me actually at the end of the race. I had to let him by. He was pushing me a little too hard, and my tires were shot. But we had an incident in the very beginning, and I had nowhere to go. He touched me, and he spun out, but he did catch me.
Well, it was a good run for you. I mean, just finishing outside the top 10 here, second in the AM class. I got to ask you, we heard earlier on in the season, and even a little bit at the end of last season, about how this Porsche just kind of eats through the tires through the run, but it almost seems like it's kind of evening out. It's not being as bad throughout the run and getting so on edge, so squirrely there towards the end. Do you feel like maybe they made some changes, or do you feel like it's just all, kind of driver control and keeping those tires underneath you?
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of saving in the beginning of the race. Try to do some tire management. But yeah, if you push all race, it does feel real slippery towards the end. I was even debating on taking tires in my pit just because I didn't want to crash. But it feels good getting a second coming off a suspension from last week. So it feels good to be on the podium.
Yeah, certainly a little bit better race out here this time, and like I said, just outside the top 10 here. So a heck of a run for you out there. Before we let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
I want to thank my beautiful wife for watching, and my team, Millennium Motorsports, and Ian Southern, one of my teammates that didn't qualify, so he didn't get to show me a wheel tonight. And thank you guys for putting on a great show.
All right, buddy, you too as well. So congrats on the finish here tonight. We'll see you next week at Road America.
Thank you.
That is your second place finisher in the AM class, and 11th place overall, the 692 of Dave Jensen. Final man we'll bring here in the booth is going to be your winner here in the AM class, 9th place overall, the 85 of Stephen McLean.
Hey, Stephen, Jimmy, Carlton, Booty Cappy.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you now.
All right. How's it going? How's it going?
Not too bad at all. I want to first say congratulations. You broke the top 10 here tonight as an AM driver, and that's I think a pretty big feat. I don't know how familiar you are with this track, or if it's your favorite track, or you just got it yesterday, or whatever it may be. But you're able to run up there with some of the pro drivers. Start pushing them around. Maybe get some of them having trouble taking their points away from them here for the evening. But you come away the winner here in the top 10. And a pretty good drive there, as we can tell throughout the race. So obviously netting you the win here for the AM. So just give you a little time for describe how your race went for you, and if there's anything that maybe you could have changed, and maybe even be farther up through those pro drivers.
Yeah, appreciate it. It was a really fun race. I've done this track several times. It is one of my favorite, just on standard official endurance races. But joining this league was great. I can't believe it's a second week in a row for a win, which is crazy. Super excited about that. Glad about my other buddy in Ace Motorsports taking third to round out the podium in AM. Very cool, and just a shout out to my family who's watching. Just thanks for streaming everything, and thanks to the league for a good, clean race. And for the Porsche, I think probably one of the better cars on this track. Very tight and technical and flowy. Took a little bit to get the rhythm and practices, but everything came together during the race, so I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'd usually before the races, I kind of try to just choose a car and see how I'll handle it there. Ended up choosing the Ford this week, and wasn't the greatest car. Wasn't too bad, but it wasn't like perfect. I felt after I was doing some test laps that the Porsche would have definitely fit a little bit better. That or I from my driving style would be like the McLaren, but definitely was a fun, flowy track. And like I said, I don't have a lot of time here, but I have some, and it is a lot of fun out here, obviously here at Mugello. But you had a great run, and net you obviously first in the AM, 9th overall. So you talked about being up front here for, twice already now, and within the first 3 races of the season. So you're looking forward to continuing your march forward to maybe stomp out a AM championship here at CSRL.
See, I don't know. We'll see. I have to take out my buddy Anthony. Man, he still gets podiums and top 4s. He's got quite a few more points than me right now. I don't know if you remember, but in the first race, I was second for like the first 30 minutes, and my internet cut out. And then I came back and like last. It was terrible, but yeah, that was quite a bummer. So I could have had 3 podiums, but I don't know. I'll keep it going. It's really fun, and yeah, thanks for everything, guys.
Yeah, definitely appreciate all the shouts and whatnot. So just want to say congratulations on your finish here tonight in the first for the AM, and we'll let you go celebrate with your friends and family.
Yes, thank you.
Is your winner here in the AM class tonight, and a good finish at 9th place overall for the 85 of Stephen McLean. I want to thank everybody once again for tuning in, and if you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe and get you in touch with everything that Sirian has to offer. Thank our sponsors as well, 40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 sim racing shoes custom engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, while still providing the comfort needed for those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products, including the original racing gloves for your feet. For Martin PC, they are focused on providing high-quality PCs, rigs, and components at an affordable price. Your investment in sim racing is exactly the same as racing with an actual car. They take that same methodology at Martin, from the PC, from the engine PC to the chassis, rig, pedals, wheels, and shifter. You deserve components that match your desire to compete. That is going to do it for our broadcast here tonight of the CSRL GT3 Series race number 3 for the season. Race number 4 is going to take us back to the USA for 3 in a row. First one coming up is going to be Road America. Then we got COTA and Road Atlanta to round out our April swing in the U.S. And Road America is certainly going to be a fun one next week. But if you want to see it, you got to tune in right here at CRN. For myself and Jimmy here at the Modelo Circuit, we'll see you at the track.
Woo.